Now, according to Bloomberg data, Guy Verberne of Fortis Global Markets is one of the most accurate forecasters of housing data this year. And Guy joins us now from our bureau in Amsterdam this morning. Guy, good morning. And before we get to housing, just want to check in with you on the Bernanke renomination. Overall, is it good or bad for confidence in the global recovery?
I think it's really good for confidence in the markets. I think that financial markets are still pretty vulnerable, and what we need right now is continuity, and that's exactly what this renomination does.
Now, what challenges does Bernanke face in the second term? Fighting inflation, as some would argue, or as Nouriel Roubini suggested yesterday, stagflation?
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
What kind of challenges does Bernanke face? Some people have said inflation. Others, like Nouriel Roubini, have talked about stagflation as a possibility.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that inflation is a problem, let's say, in the next 1.5 years. But he will have to fight inflation worries. And people are really worried about the length, the size of the Fed's balance sheet, enormous amount of bank reserves at the central bank. And as soon as confidence in financial markets returns even more than it has done, I think people will start worrying about possibly these reserves starting to move, and so then he will have to do something, and it's really an open question to what extent he will be able to reduce these reserves in an orderly fashion.
Lots of open questions there. Let's turn now to housing. You do forecast a 15.7% drop in the S&P Case-Shiller Index for the month of June. Overall, you say that housing has turned the corner here. Why is that?
Well, I think that it's undeniable now that demand is on the rise, both for existing homes and for new homes. Building activity, if you look at housing starts, building activity has bottomed out. And if we look at the Ophelia House Price Index, which will be also released later this afternoon, we have seen a stabilization in recent months. I think the S&P Case-Shiller Index is following that with a delay of a few months, but there too we now see a stabilization. I'm saying that prices are likely to flatten out, that we are unlikely to see much further declines. That's something different than saying that we are likely to see significant increases anytime soon. I think for that, the stocks of unsold homes are still too high.
Now, the improved or just less bad read in the housing market has been driven by price declines. To what extent, though, is there enough demand to drive sales once prices start rising? Because home buyers, like U.S. consumers, have gotten very used to buying everything at 60% off.
Yeah, well, I think affordability, the strong improvement in affordability indeed has been a major factor behind, say, the stabilization in prices. As I said, I don't expect prices to rise, let's say, before year end or early 2010. If that happens, I think we're in a much better situation with the economy. We are likely to see a beginning of a fall in unemployment or a rise in employment. And I think that will then help to support the housing market, even if house prices are rising.
Okay, Guy, very quickly, in the debate over a V-shaped or W-shaped recovery, where do you stand?
Well, I'm quite optimistic about the U.S. economy. I think it's like an athlete who has trimmed down and is ready to go, and it needs just a little push. Inventories are very low, staffing levels are very low, so I think we are ready to go with the U.S. economy, also thanks to the recovery that we are witnessing in Asia.
Okay, thank you for your thoughts. We appreciate it. Our thanks to Guy Verberne, Head of Economic Research at Fortis Global Markets in Amsterdam.